Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome. Right, let me just go on Instagram, guys. Okay, should connect. So, ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome, wonderful viewers, wonderful people. Hope you guys are having a fantastic evening, enjoying yourselves. Right, so my name is Dakat Zaman. This is my YouTube channel, Roots of Knowledge, where I put up videos where you guys can learn about Islam, you can learn about Quran, you can learn about the Arabic language. And if anyone's interested in any of these courses, you can check out the link below, and you can email me if you like. All right, so I actually just came back from a janaza. One of my students' father passed away. So, it was quite shocking to see that he's passed away. Unfortunately, he had cancer. And, unfortunately, with these things, if you've got anyone in your family that's died of cancer, you know how it feels. So went there, prayed the janaza, and tomorrow's going to be the burial, inshallah, and came back home. So my evening, that's been my evening. I hope you guys have had an enjoyable evening or enjoyable day. Right, and it's cold outside as well. Right, so it is very cold. They're saying it's snowing in some parts of the UK as well. Kanda wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. Is it true that if one eavesdrops, then molten copper gets poured down one's ear in the hereafter? There's a narration that mentioned that, yes. Wa alaikum assalam wa ahlan wa sahlan. Is the Prophet Muhammad alive in his grave? All the prophets of Allah, Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, believe are alive in their graves. Umair Ansari, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome, my brother Umair. Welcome, guys. No name. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. My British Pakistani live Sheffield Muslim vlogger. MashaAllah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him highest level in Jannah and forgive his past known and unknown sins. Ameen. Jazakallah khair for the kind dua. Maryam. Did you graduate from Darul Karachi? No, I graduated from I graduated from Jami al-Ulum al-Islamiyah. Jami al-Ulum al-Islamiyah, which is basically a place called Banuri town. So in Karachi, it was established by Maulana Yusuf Banuri. Jundullah, alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan, my brother Jundullah. I hope you are well, enjoying yourself. I'm very well, thank you very much. How are you, Jundullah? Can you eat prawns? Yes. Is it permissible for a man to wear a lip ring, not a piercing? A lip ring. I've never heard of one of those. What is a lip ring? Let me check this out. Lip ring. But is it basically just, it's like one of those hook-ons? So generally the rule is this, that when it comes to items that are purely jewelry, men should avoid these things. Men should not wear anything which is a primarily jewelry piece of accessory. This is something which is known for the other gender, meaning females wear these kind of things, and men should not wear these kind of things. Umar wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan, my brother Umar. Was intending to come, but next event, inshallah. Don't worry, inshallah, next event. By the way, tomorrow is the event of the Imam Abu Hanifa book launch. So Sheikh Umar is coming from Canada, who's going to launch his book about Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah and the hadith that he collected and fatwa. So I'll be there, inshallah. I'll be giving a little talk as well. So if you guys come to Sufa, inshallah, you'll be able to enjoy the talk. Hope you're well, Sheikh. I'm very good. Thank you very much, Umar. A priori, if some sunnah prayers are ghair mu'akkada and the Hanafi explained these prayers as prayers that the Prophet ﷺ did not pray constantly, then shouldn't we make it not a habit of praying? Yes, of course, that's right. Alhamdulillah ala kulli hal, mashallah. Can you make a vlog about masjid and Muslim in the UK, Sheikh? Inshallah, why not? What's your opinion on the group of scholars who went to East Turkmenistan recently? I don't know about that. So what happened? I'm not. I'm not sure. I didn't hear the news. Did something happen? Is it true that after death, the soul can feel whatever happens to the body? So if the body gets cremated, then the soul feels it? No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not in any authentic hadith or not in any verse of the Quran. Yeah, so anyway, let's go to Curious Cat. Let's check out what Curious Cat has to say. Curious Cat. Curious Catty. Okay, let's see what you guys have to say on Curious Cat. So, questions on Curious Cat are okay, so the question was, I think I answered this question. He will not be Sahib al-Tabdeeb. Could you explain live, please? If someone didn't know that ruling at the time, would he be exempted? No, he won't. Would praying witr in tahajjud time, would you get the same reward as tahajjud? Possibly. Live on video 134 Hajj, you mentioned that if you miss the stoning on the 10th, you give one goat, and then okay, I'm gonna have to check the video for that one. Next, if we pass gas or have a little pre-seminal fluid during ghusl, are we still in a state of purity after ghusl is completed? As long as all the body has been washed, yes. Laughing in Salah breaks wudu, and Salah, is that masala accepted from the later Hanafis? Yes. As a revert to Islam, is it obligatory to change my name to a Muslim name? No. So you only have to change your name if its meaning contradicts Islam. So if any meaning contradicts Islam, then you gotta change it. Okay, if I want to pray Surah Yasin at Fajr time, do I have to make intention before I pray as to why I'm reading it, or will it just get reward? Yes, you'll get reward. No need for intention. Okay, what is a good dua to read if you are looking for a job? Oh Allah, grant me halal sustenance. Dua. Remember, when you guys ask questions about what dua is best for this, end of the day, whatever dua you make to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is considered to be a good dua. Right? So you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant your duas. Wa alaikum assalam. Mu'allam. Okay. Okay, so next. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So the Sunnah Mu'akkada prayers should be prayed constantly, and the Ghair Mu'akkada ones occasionally. Yes, that's right. Amina alaikum assalam, and everyone else. If a woman breastfeeds the adopted daughter of her husband's brother, will the girl become mahram to her brother-in-law? Yes. If as long as the baby is under the age of 2, then basically, let's say, for example, let's say you're a woman. Obviously, you're a woman. You breastfeed a child. Your brother will become mahram for that girl. Yeah, and your uncle will become mahram. Basically, everyone that is a mahram for your child will become a mahram for her. Sorry, not East Turkmenistan. I was supposed to say that Turkestan, the area where the Chinese people. Okay, I'm not sure. I haven't heard the news. I wasn't. Um, I wasn't aware of it. What is Islam's take on spending and financially supporting parents when you want to save up for future? So you only have to spend on them when they are in need. So when they are in need, you have to spend on them. The siblings get together and they chip in. I'm married and we want to save for our future. Yes, you can save for your future. It's fine. Zob, alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What is the meaning of the name Nusayba with a sin, not Sad? Nusayba. It means someone who is like from a particular lineage. So it's like a diminutive form. Yeah. So a nasib is someone who's attributed to someone. So attribute to something, and Nusayb is like the small little one. An elderly family member passed away yesterday in Pakistan, had a stroke. Subhanallah. May Allah grant them Jannatul Firdaus. Okay, wa alaikum assalam, Ahmad R. If a menstruating woman becomes pure during the day in Ramadan, is she sinful if she doesn't abstain from eating? She won't technically be considered to be sinful, but if she's doing it deliberately, believing that she is getting some sort of reward, then possibly, yeah. I heard you can ask the Prophet ﷺ to ask Allah for something. Is that true? Some scholars allow that. I would say no. I say should be avoided. Assalamu alaikum. Is it allowed to have a nikah repeated due to legal reasons? Possibly, yes. Why not? The first one would be the official nikah. The second one would just be like a mock replica of it. Can you clarify this passage about Ibn Hazm? وقصر الخطب خطبة مندوب وأوجبه ظاهرية. قال ابن حزم: شاهدت خطيب قرية أطال الخطبة فأخبرني بعض الوجوه أنه بال في ثيابه إذا لم يمكنه الخروج من المقصورة. Yeah, so what do you want to know about this? What do you want me to clarify? If some madhi comes out and the person doesn't know precisely where, can they just sprinkle water on the garment? Yes. In Islam, polygamy sunnah? No. It's considered to be permissible. Zainab, alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan, Zainab. I'm very well, thank you very much. Okay, so back to the questions on Curious Cat then. Salam Sheikh, I've made an intention that inshallah I would like to give 25% of whatever I earn in charity as sadaqah. I only earn £200 per month as I have health problems. I was earning a lot more before, alhamdulillah. I was wondering whether I should prioritize giving 25% to the poor over the following: using it to pay Islamic courses for myself, using it to save up. Yes, I think use it for yourself first and foremost. If you need it, remember, Allah does not need your money. Allah does not need you to burden yourself for Allah's sake. So, giving charity is a good thing, but charity starts at home. The best charity is at home. So, salam. Yes, I'd say it's better to use it on yourself in that situation. Even if you made a promise that you're going to give 25%, you don't have to give it. It's not binding upon you. Okay, would a baby that has had its soul blown into it in the mother's womb see the angel of death if it was? Allah knows. Knows best. We have no idea. During days of Hajj, what does a menstruating woman do since she cannot perform Tawaf Ifada? How about Tawaf Ziyarah? They're the same thing. They are both the same thing. Tawaf Ifada, Tawaf Ziyarah. Yeah, the same thing. If she can wait in Mecca she stays until she is pure or clean to do tawaf. Otherwise, she does tawaf in menstrual state and gives a sacrifice, a goat as sacrifice. What is the difference between tawaf al-ifada and tawaf al-ziyara? Must both be completed in Hajj? Same thing. If a woman is menstruating in the days of Hajj, how does she perform tawaf? Okay, same question again. Okay, this person gives us the same question. Okay, during Hajj, you can't cover your face. What if a curtain or a place? So a woman can't have anything. Anything touching her face. But if she has something draped over her face such that it doesn't touch, then that's fine. Okay, right. All the questions have been answered. Okay, no, another one. My friend is a convert. His brother intends to travel abroad to get a body modification surgery that is most certainly prohibited. His brother wants someone to accompany him following the surgery as he will not be able to communicate with others. Would a Muslim be allowed to accompany? Yes. Yes. They'd be allowed to accompany them. Yeah, because they are not supporting the action. They are simply just helping the individual as a human being. Okay. Enes, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Do you recommend the nikah also to be registered as a civil marriage in the UK? It's up to you. I mean, I don't know of any special benefits of this. The only thing that I would say the benefit of an official registered nikah is that the woman would obviously have more security in her marriage. So if the husband can't just leave her, yeah. So in other words, he'd have to leave behind something to support her financially. And in some women's cases, I think that is very important. Unfortunately, people, there's many men out there who will just take advantage of a woman, marry them, and then just dump them, divorce them verbally, and then that's it. It's like the woman's left in the cold. Hussein Patel, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. Muhammad, assalamu alaikum, my brother. Muhammad, ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome, welcome, welcome. HK, if a man divorces his wife 3 times whilst he is high on drugs and doesn't know what he's saying, is the talaq valid? As I heard the talaq of one is still valid. So the Hanafis have 2 opinions on this. The majority opinion is that it's still valid, and some of them held the opinion that it's not valid. Yeah, so the fatwa is upon that it is valid. Yeah, it does happen. Assalamu alaikum. Unless they're high on something like which is for medical purposes. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My brother Fresh Prince of Pakistan. يا شيخنا الكريم الصديق كيف الحال؟ الحمد لله أنا بخير. وكيف أنت؟ كيف الأحوال؟ كيف الأهل؟ كيف الجو عندك؟ There are many forms of sadaqah. Monetary is just one time. Smiling to your brother is a sadaqah. Definitely. Smile to all you guys. And all you guys smile back to me. With respect to the earlier question on spending on parents, I don't know, it might be cultural, but we have always been told that you spend on your parents first and then your wife and kids. Yeah, that's probably just a cultural thing. But from a legal point of view, Islamic legal point of view, you are not obliged to spend on your parents unless they are in need. Then you have to. Obviously, recommended to support your parents. Spend on them now and again. I was wondering if you heard of Sheikha Haifa. She has her talk tomorrow in Birmingham. Yeah, I've like vaguely kind of come across her, but I don't know her personally. What leniency is there is if a woman traveling alone without a mahram? So if she is with a group of people who are reliable people, then there is scope for that. That's what some of the scholars say. Many narrations as well regarding that. What if I'm not getting income? Do I have to give zakat? If you have savings, so zakat. So Maryam, let me just show you a video that I've done, crash course on zakat, that will help you understand this. Okay, so zakat is not based upon how much income you get; it's how much savings you've got. Yeah, so zakat is all about savings. So just remember that's the key thing that is a lot of people don't realize. Is tax in this country is based upon income. So zakah. All right, next. That's a good idea, Sheikh. Okay. Next. Fresh Prince of Pakistan. أحب سترة الخاص بك. سترة الخاص. أي سترة الخاص؟ يعني هذا الخلف الذي يتحرك. خلف هذه. Should I prioritize saving to take my daughter for Umrah over giving sadaqah to the poor? Yes. Prioritize Umrah because Umrah will have a very big impact on your daughter, inshallah. On her iman, on her connection to the Ummah. Can a person shave their beard after the doctor says that the only way that they can apply medical? Yes. Medical purposes they can. هل يمكنني أن أصلي وأنا على كرسي في القطار؟ نعم، إذا لم يتيسر لك المكان للقيام فإذا يجوز لك أن تجلس على الكرسي وتصلي. Ibn Hazm's passage above is saying shortening the khitbah من واجب by the Zahiriya. And in Ibn Hazm's anecdotes that someone urinated to get out of the khutbah. Yeah, so the maqsura means like there used to be this kind of like place where people used to stand with the imam. That's called the maqsura. So some guy's trying to get out. He couldn't get out because the khutbah was too long, and he peed himself. Can you do online lessons on the commentary of Simt al-Wusul? I can. The problem is it's going to have an impact on all the other videos that I'm supposed to be making. Maybe in the future, inshallah. Ibn Adam wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. Is there a special reason you want to study Simt al-Wusul? Is there like a specific reason that you want to study that book over other books? It's interesting. I like knowing why people want to study. Is it because sometimes a book, they hear a lot of people talking about it, so they think it's important? Or is it really that there's something special about this book? Are braces for your teeth halal? Yes. Is a woman's voice considered awra? No. اقترضت شخصا فلوسا فهل أطلب منه إخراج الزكاة عليه؟ نعم، ممكن إذا كنت تستطيع أن تقول له أن يؤدي الزكاة عنك فممكن، نعم. لكن أصل الزكاة سيكون عليك عندما يعني يرجع عليك المال. Salam, how can we memorize long text, hadith, fiqh issues, and any tips on reading? So there's no easy way for hifz. Hifz is hifz. Hifz that was done 1,000 years ago is the same as hifz that's done today. You just have to keep repeating it. Right? This is the only way to do. Honestly, it's a hard thing. You have to, because it requires a lot of long attention span. And we don't have that today, a lot of us. So you just got to sit there for 15-20 minutes just going over the text every single day. I have savings. And understanding Arabic without i'rab, first of all, you need to understand the basics. And then after that, you need to start implementing it. Ideally, get yourself a teacher, pay him if you have to, and tell him that you're going to read text to him and he's going to correct you. That's the best way. I have savings that I was planning to invest, inshallah, as I am a woman and can't work now due to various reasons. I feel immensely guilty not giving some of it sadaqah. No, you won't be held accountable for it. You will not be held, inshallah, accountable. In Islam, does a woman have any financial rights from her ex-husband after divorce? No. So Mufti Sahab, in terms of the hadith where 3 men are stuck in a cave and all decide to do tawassul with a good deed, one guy mentions he always gives milk to his parents. Would understand that hadith something recommended? Yes. Like it's just his intention was very good. Anybody's intention, like you can have a very good intention in feeding a dog water, right? You got a dog, you don't have to feed dogs on the street, but if you have a very good intention of feeding the dog water, and that could be a means of your salvation. Yeah, LOL. If your parent is very abusive and is getting to the point where you should leave, is it okay to leave and not come in contact physically, or is it that wrong? Again, look, this kind of question, when people ask me this question, I say I'm only hearing one side of the story. Like, I don't know exactly what's happening. So someone comes to me and says, my dad's being very rude to me, very bad to me. And then when I've asked the dad, and the dad goes, look, this is how I am to him. It's just that he doesn't like the way I speak to him. So sometimes what happens is you have to listen to both sides of the stories. And people say to me, but I'm telling you, you should believe me. And I say, well, okay, you know, as someone who has to listen to two sides of the story, as a Muslim, you always have to be balanced. It's unfair for me just to trust what one person is saying over the other. But theoretically, if really the parents are being very abusive, then of course. I want to study something usul because I've studied Sur Shashi, but I felt that I was taught the Masail in the book rather than the usul, and I feel that Suntul Usul is a good abridgment of Manar. I see. I see. Yeah, then it's good. لابد من التكرار فبالتكرار يتعلم الحمار. نعم قد لا يتعلم الحمار. Are you aware of any Sharia compliant home purchase plans in the UK? Check IFG. So Hussein Patel, check out IFG. They have a list of halal investments. If someone prays late their whole life, is that better than someone that prays on time but is inconsistent? I don't know. Allah knows this. Praying on time is always better. Assalamu alaikum. Hope you are well. Is forex trading? No, not halal. Sorry if I'm a big caps lock. No problem, my brother. Which books would you suggest Alimiya students to repeatedly study after finishing their Alimiya course? All the books that this student has studied from the beginning, go over them all again. I actually went through all my books again. So once you qualify, or even when you get to the last years, go over those books again. I would definitely 100% say, because when you study the books in the beginning, you have a limited amount of understanding of these books. Yeah. And then when you go over them again, you gain more understanding, get more insight. Yeah, more insight. So I would say definitely go over like Hidayat al-Nahu, go over Quduri, go over Usul Shashi, go over, Nur Anwar, these kind of books. Indeed, both sides are important, as we learn from the story of Dawood alayhi salam, no matter how obvious the answer is from one. Yeah, honestly, I've experienced this so much from cases where people come to me crying and saying, look, so and so has done this to me and this. And if I say to them, look, I can only listen to one side, they get upset at me. And they say to me, look, I've come to you and look how. And I always have to be impartial with them. I have to say, look, you've come to me to ask. For me to be fair, I have to listen to the other side of the story before I give a judgment. So if the court, for instance, divides the property 50-50 after divorce, would that money be haram? If the husband is not happy to give it, then it wouldn't be allowed for her to take. Student of Habib ibn Umar Hafiz. I think I read a saying from Sidi Ahmad Zarruq long time ago, he who masters the foundations masters the discipline. Very, very good. I like that one. That's a good one. Another good one from you, Muhammad. So this is my tip for anyone. Whenever you listen to someone comes to you crying about a story, listen to them, but do not give a judgment. Do not pass a judgment, because passing a judgment, it's the Prophet ﷺ says, whoever becomes a judge between two people has been slaughtered with a blunt knife, or has been slaughtered without a knife, because it's very, very difficult. Because even if you give judgment in favor of one person, the other person will always have resentment for you in their hearts. Usually, in most cases, the other person will always, and I've seen this so many times in fiqh councils, Islamic fiqh councils, right? It's always ended in like some bad taste. Right. Is studying iftar possible in 1 year? If someone has done 1 year, how should they continue in terms of study? I think studying iftar in 1 year, look, when you study iftar, you are not qualified, okay? So when you study iftar, you are not qualified. You have simply just done a crash course into understanding how to start your iftar journey. Yeah, remember that. So every iftar course is basically just opening the doors to allowing you to try to understand how the course works. And a 1 year course is not enough, 2 years is not enough, 5 years is even not enough. I would say a person has to, a long term, 15, 20 years, continuously answer questions, you know, systematically go through the fiqh books, especially the more advanced books, and teach the books as well. Definitely teach the books to really gain a mastery of iftar, because iftar it requires not only understanding the books, but iftar also understanding the society as well. Yeah, understanding what's happening in society, so you know how the fatwa is supposed to be tailored for that society. Okay, next. Be good. Assalamu alaikum. If I do wudu and then put on one leather sock, but then due to some reason I have to take that one sock off, I haven't put on the second sock yet. Does my wudu break? No. Wudu does not break by taking your socks off. Wudu breaks by 7 things. Any impurity that comes out your body, basically. So you can take off your socks as much as you like, so long as you haven't broken your wudu. Once you break your wudu, then you can't put the socks on. Dajjal is one-eyed, whereas we should be amongst the ulul absar. Wah, wah, wah. Kya baat hai? Why ulul absar? Not the two-eyed, but the absar. Wa alaikum assalam, Huzaifa. Are there any texts you would recommend for a student to memorize 40 hadith? Yes, I would definitely recommend something like Zad al-Talibin. Although Zad al-Talibin has a lot of hadith in there that are very problematic. What I would suggest is there is a book called Al-Ilmam by Imam Ibn Daqiq al-Eid. Al-Ilmam. This is a very nice book. Yeah, hadith book that you can memorize. Yeah, very kind of easy hadith that you can memorize. So I definitely encourage that. If you can memorize 40 hadith of Nawawi, memorize that as well. That's a very good book as well. So these are good books because they were written by experts, people who had a deep understanding of the science. How can someone ensure their Quran translation is strong? They need to get it checked. Yeah, so make sure they read tafsirs just to make sure that they're translating in line with the tafsir. And that's the whole point of becoming an expert in the science, because you want to develop your understanding of being able to read the books. Okay, Abdul Wadud, wa alaikum salam. What advice would you give to people who are in their 40s who want to start studying? So if you're old, right, and you want to start studying, let me give you some advice. Start with Arabic. Start with the focus on Quran. Try to make your mission to understand the Quran in Arabic. That is a big, big, big blessing, because especially Ramadan coming up this year. So it's only about less than 70 days left for Ramadan. Think about that, less than 70 days left. So you want to really understand, the Quran, right? So then once you focus on that, then after that, wherever you're inspired to study, then you can study. But the main thing, focus on Arabic and the Quran. Don't focus on anything else. Arabic, Quran, Arabic, Quran, Arabic, Quran. Okay, Jundullah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to capitalize on the barakah of the morning. Ameen. You like that hadith, yeah? Subhanallah. It's a very powerful hadith about the barakah. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made dua to Allah to put barakah for the ummah in their mornings. Salam, in Morocco, they sell snails. Is it allowed to any madhab? Yes, Malikis. I heard Manzoor Mengal that Arab scholars like Zahid al-Kawthari would be intimidated to speak Arabic in front of Anusha Kashmir because of Anusha Kashmir's depth of Arabic. Allah knows best. I've never come across that. I don't know. Maybe there might be a story about that. How many times does a student of knowledge need to review their lesson to memorize it so that they never forget it? It all depends on how many times do you find that you have to go over something to learn it. I find personally, if I go over something 5 times, 6 times, I usually like kind of know it. Like I don't know it word for word, but I just kind of know it. So the woman is supposed to spend her life looking after the house and the kids, but gets nothing at all. So this is why she should ask for a high. This is why she should ask for a high mahar. So see, the point is that when people ask these kind of questions, they have to understand that there's a system in Islam in place, which is the system of the mahar. The mahar and the expenditure that she gets, that's all belongs. She doesn't have to spend a penny on her kids. She doesn't have to spend a penny on her clothes. Her husband buys everything for her. So she should be saving up. Potentially, she should be saving up money. That's the idea. Uh, Sheikh, what do we do if we see a close friend, family member really struggling with marriage and asking our advice? Can't speak to a husband due to gender interaction. Yeah, it's a hard one. I don't know because I'm not an expert in this field. Uh, Best thing to do, Zainab, would be to speak to someone who is a marriage counselor. They are, they are, um, they are the ones who would be best to answer this. Yeah, because I honestly I'm not an expert in this. People have asked me to mediate marriages, and it's a messy thing. I've seen like husband and wives fight with each other, and the reason I don't like it with people as well because you see the bad side of people, unfortunately, right? And I've seen it a few times, like some of my friends who have mediated for, and then you see the bad side, what they get up to, and their wives kind of say, look, they do this at home, and they do that, and it's just not nice. If your nose bleeds a little bit, does that mean you have to redo wudu? Yes. How is darura defined as opposed to haja? So darura is something we kind of Hanafis. Darura means um, like anything which is falls under haraj, or something which it either is something which makes it you can't live without it, or it's something which makes your life very difficult. It'll make your life very difficult. This is how Hanafis define darura. Okay. Ya Allah. Okay, check this out. Bridge to where is Allah? Astaghfirullah. You don't know where Allah is. Bridge to Astaghfirullah. You're asking a question that the Sahabas, that Imam Malik called a bid'ah. Yeah. Where is Allah? Astaghfirullah. Okay, which English translation of the Quran would you recommend? So I would say Mufti Taqi Usmani's got a noble Quran, which is very good. Which field are you expert in? I'm not an expert in any field. I'm trying to become an expert. Let's make dua, guys. I become an expert. Regarding the previous question regarding taking the khuf off, if one has done masa on them for the last wudu, it does break the wudu. Right now, it doesn't break wudu. Look, wudu only breaks with impurity coming out your body. So if you take your socks off, it means your feet have to be washed now. So your wudu doesn't break. Your wudu, the rest of your wudu is fine. Simply means that your feet are without washing. So you have to go and wash your feet, and then you can put your socks back on. Can a mujaddid be in the middle of the century since Islam can be revived at any time? Yes, of course. Of course. Why not? How would you recommend we improve our understanding of tafsir texts? I would say just continuously just reading. What I tend to do is this: if you get a verse of the Quran and you write down the ayah, and then you just brainstorm everything that comes to your mind about the ayah, and then you go to the tafsirs and start reading, what happens is you start focusing on those specific points that you've written down. I do that a lot. So now I'm going to teach tafsir. What I do is I just jot down as many things that come to my mind about the ayah, and then try to look into tafsirs of where this has been. Okay, next. Can you give nasiha for a newly married couple and how to maintain peace throughout life? No, I can't give that. What I would say, look, the thing about marriages is this: do not expect too much from your spouse. Don't expect too much from your spouse. And no one is perfect. Yeah. Just look at your grandparents. How did your grandparents get on? The best people to ask marriage advice is go to your grandparents if they're alive, or your uncles and aunties, or if you got parents, and ask them what is the best advice if they're still married. What's the best advice they can give? They'll give you the best advice. Which English Quran translation would you recommend? Noble Quran, Mufti Taqi Usmani, and also Gracious Quran by Ahmad Zaki, and the translation of the Quran by Abdul Halim, Dr. Abdul Halim. Would a Hanafi be sinful for eating crabs, and would it constitute missing out? I don't think they'd be considered sinful because it's an ikhtilafi masala. It's a big ikhtilafi masala anyway. What's the role, if any, of facilitating ease for the public in fatwa giving? This is a big issue, so it would be difficult to explain this in 2 minutes. But facilitating ease for the people in fatwa is basically the Sharia is greater than a madhab. That's what you always have to remember. To restrict someone to a strict position inside of a madhab, especially if that position is making their life difficult, is unfair. Especially if they've got lots, the Sharia has given lots of scope. That's what the essence of the principle is. Yeah. So if, for example, like let's say someone is living in a let's say someone is living in a community where it's difficult for them to be able to um, it's difficult for them to be able to eat certain type of food. Yeah, they're living in a place where there is a particular type of seafood, or they're living on a ship or something like that. Then restricting them to a specific is going to be very hard. Mufti Taqi Usmani uses this concept a lot in buyu, in transaction as well. So in transactions, restricting transactions only to the Hanafi madhab, Mufti Taqi Usmani says that this is considered to be very difficult upon the people. وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. Subhanallah. Okay, why do some of these say they don't do ijtihad? Because they don't do ijtihad. Because what they most likely mean by ijtihad is they are simply just what is known as naqils. They simply transmit what someone has said. So they don't do ijtihad, as in they don't step out of the frame of the madhab and come out with their own, reinvention of the wheel. Otherwise, within the madhab, of course, I was reading the Quran the other, and Zainab, Imam Suyuti has actually written a book on this. Yeah, a book on this dedicated to the existence of mujtahids in every era. So if the mufti is like a high level mufti, like someone who is of a caliber of Mufti Taqi Usmani or Dr. Nizam Yaqubi or someone of that nature, then yes, definitely we call it darbu min ijtihad. They have a kind of ijtihad in them, a level of ijtihad. I was reading the Quran the other day and came across the ayah وَلَا تَسُبُّوا الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ فَيَسُبُّوا اللَّهَ عَدْوًا بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ. I was wondering why this ayah has been said. The Arabs believed in Allah. They just set up angels, jinns, and others in. So furthermore, the justification was in order that they may get closer to Allah Himself. There were different types of mushrikeen amongst the Arabs, not just one. So there were those that used to, like Hindus. There's various types of Hindus out there. So there were some that believed that God had daughters. There were some that believed that you can kill your own daughters. There were some that believed that God God had partners, in the sense that those kind of like idols. Some believe that these were means of trying to get closer to God, to Allah. So and this is a general rule. وَلَا تَسُبُّوا الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. So those who call other than Allah, right? Don't insult. Yeah, don't insult like the things that they're calling, because what they'll turn around and do is they'll insult Islam, or they'll insult the God, the Allah that you believe in. Yeah, so they'll say that, well, the Allah you believe in, right? He's like this, he's like this. So it's not really so it's not necessarily saying that all mushrikeen believed in Allah as the ultimate God. Some of them didn't, because Mecca was simply just a center for these various types of like sub-religions. So imagine if Hindus have so many different beliefs amongst themselves, the same is going to happen for mushriks. Mushriks will always have, disunity amongst themselves in faith. Okay, number 2. It won't affect the majesty of Allah whether they curse Him or insult Him. They were already doing so anyway through shirk. وما شتموا إياه فقوله لي ولد سبحاني اتخذ صاحبة. They are the ones whom even when they hear the Quran, it increases them in nothing but loss, as per Quran. So why stop them from? So okay, answering the second question. So when it comes to, for example, like لا تسبوا الذين. So you see, when there is someone who realizes they're wrong and they're not stubborn against the truth, it's very easy for them to accept the truth. But when you make someone defensive and they start cursing what you believing, they start insulting what you believing, they become so blind to the truth that they're most likely they're not going to be willing to accept the truth, even if they know it. So what you don't want to do with people is you don't want to insult other people, you don't want to make it like a personal issue, that it becomes so personal that they start to refuse to believe in Islam simply because it's a matter of pride. Yeah, because you insulted my God, right? I'm gonna insult your God. I don't care if I'm wrong. I'm never gonna accept it. So this is one of the ideas behind it. And yes, of course, they did. They like, as a Muslim, they have blasphemed, right? Clearly, they've blasphemed, but they don't see as blasphemy. Like the Christians, they don't see believing that God had a son as blasphemy. So they don't see it as sabbullah. Yeah. But when you say to the Christians, that no, this, Jesus is not the Son of God, and you people are fabricating your beliefs, and you believe that Jesus died for the sins, and it doesn't make sense, and you guys are just making up your own religion. They're most likely going to turn around and say, "Well, we don't believe you anyway." Yeah, yeah. So that's basically how this, I would say, this ayah would work. It's that when he said "La tasubbu alladhina yad'una min dun," it's like when you're doing something and they see as blasphemous, like if you were to slaughter a cow and they saw that as blasphemous, they would think, obviously, you are doing something which is desecrating their religious or their God. But you don't see as that. You are not insulting them. You just are doing something which you believe is permissible, and they just see it like that. Whereas if you were to insult their gods, if you were to say the F word or B word to their gods, then that would now start between you and them some sort of creating a barrier between you and them. What do you think? Randomly, assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. Randomly, mashallah, my brother. Ahlan wa sahlan. With so many sects, how does one navigate to where to study and with whom? I would say find a scholar who you are happy with and just study with them. Do not ask questions. If you're happy with that person, if you haven't seen them insult anyone, if you haven't seen them bad manners, and you've seen them pious and praying salat, then just study with them. Right. Ibn Adam, which seerah book can I gift a new Muslim revert to read? A book called Muhammad by Martin Lings. Muhammad by Martin Lings. Galaxy, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Must we say mashallah to the belonging things of non-Muslims? No, you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to, but you can say it. Is it contradictory to regard shrimp as permissible and yet don't eat it because of the difference of opinion? No. I repeat the question, can I go to the house address? No, you can't. هل أنت مسرور؟ أنا مسرور جدا. كيف أنت? Are we allowed to walk past shops, aisles filled with alcohol if it is avoidable? Yes, of course you can walk past them. There's no sin in walking past alcohol and looking at alcohol. Does a spot's pus content alone break wudu or must it flow? Yeah, it must flow. So if you break it and it starts to flow. Okay, I think no name, I'm going to have to put you on block because I think you're just asking silly questions. Okay. Okay, was that correct? Yes, it was correct. Are men allowed to pluck the hair in between their eyebrows? Yes, absolutely. Wa alaikum assalam, my brother Masir Ali. Kayf al-hal? Kayf al-hal? What's happening, my brother? America? MP, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Are octopus and squids halal as Hanafis? No. So it becomes personal, so it shuts them away as it. Yeah, I think that's that. If you look at the context of what comes before and what comes after, this is what it's talking about. It's talking more about the sub, which is insulting them, like actively insulting them, and they know it's as an insult. So you are intentionally saying something which is abusive. The point is, we know they're wrong. Don't say anything abusive to them, which is going to result in them simply just having a tennis match with you, abusive tennis match. Randomly, أنا طالب عربي جديد الحمد لله ما شاء الله بارك الله في علمك يا طالب الجديد. كيف أنت في الهند? Sheikh, can you recommend a Sheikh course for purification of the heart, please? So when it comes to the purification of the heart, the most important thing of anything in is sitting in the company and being able to communicate with them. That is the most important. And it has to be someone who understands you very well, who knows the situation. All right. So what I would say is look for someone who you are. They don't have to be an expert in knowledge. They don't have to be a sheikh or anything like that. They just have to be a good person that tells you do this, do that. That's the idea. The idea is like if they see you doing something wrong, right? They just tell you do this, do that. What you're doing is wrong. Yeah, that's the idea. So they kind of like it's like basically learning how to ride a bike. So when you're learning how to ride a bike, and you have the stabilizers on, yeah, the extra small wheels, right? It's like someone pushing you and showing you, and then once you can go on your own, you remove them, and then you can ride the bike on your own. That's the whole idea of a sheikh. The sheikh is not there that you only way you can be a Muslim is by someone else always showing you. No, that doesn't make sense then. There is a hadith that we are closest to Allah in sajda, so we should increase dua in sajda. Can you explain if we can make dua in language? Yes, you can in nafil prayer. Fard prayer, Hanafi say no. Yeah, fard prayer should be avoided, but in nafil prayer, yes. I asked someone about why Allah allows starving of rizq is starving if rizq is in his hands, and someone pointed to the verse in the Quran. Should we spend when Allah could have spent on them? I remember Surah Yasin, but I never saw this verse and that. Always more to learn, definitely. Look at that. And that's what happens that sometimes you see a verse and it just hits you. It just makes sense at the right time. It's like every verse sometimes has a right time for it to, blossom. Right. Next. Galaxy, I asked about the alcohol question because someone could say that same thing about eating food in a pub with friends, even though they are not drinking. Alcohol question. I'm not sure I understood about the alcohol question. Okay, I once heard Ustad Muhammad Gilan say he would recommend A Thinking Person's Guide to Islam by Prince Ghazi and Islam and the Destiny of Man by Guy Eaton for new Muslims. Okay, interesting. I've heard of those, but I haven't read them. How do we understand to learn the intent of an author when reading books, especially of fiqh books? Yeah, it's hard. That's why you need experts. If experts like give you a head start, if they allow you in the beginning to understand, behind the scenes principles, that helps a lot. Yeah. So I generally find when I'm reading a new book, I try to look at reviews, what people have said. Try to read the introduction. Try to read what people have said about this book, about this author, about his history, where he lived, and then you kind of build a picture of what was in his mind. Yeah. So currently, for example, like I'm going through a book, several books I'm going through. One is called Al Ifsah. It's about, I think it's about 6 volumes, 7 volumes, yeah, by Ibn Hubayra, and 500s. And one is called Al Rawd Basim, by a scholar in the 800s, Yemeni scholar in the 800s, who was Ibn al-Wazir Yamani. And I'm going through a Sharh of Ilman by Ibn Daqiq al-Eid. So I like to read more about them, and sometimes when I read other books of theirs, I get an understanding of what was the reason for why they put this masla here. So it helps. Sometimes you're not going to understand everything. How do you? Okay, Kaifa haluka? I guess it's how are you? Alhamdulillah, I'm good. Yes, that is correct. Well done. Abusive tennis match. The comment section below. Most Pakistan and Indian cricket matches on YouTube. Exactly, bro. Exactly. You know it. Okay, M. Faizan. Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What was the Sahabi's name? How put the Quran in order, and did he write it all down? No, there's no Sahabi who did that. All the Sahaba got it from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Isha Naz, wa alaikum assalam. Brother, do you follow the methodology of the Salaf? Of course I do. I follow the methodology of the Salaf, guys. Yeah. Look, let me tell you this clearly, yeah. What do I believe, guys? I believe whatever the Sahaba used to believe in, how they used to believe, that's what I believe. Alhamdulillah. And I hope you guys believe in that as well. Yeah, so that's my belief. Everyone ever asks me, what's your belief? I am not a Salafi. I am not whatever you want me to believe. I am a belief that whatever Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu used to believe, whatever Umar radiallahu anhu used to believe, alhamdulillah, that's what I believe. What do you guys believe? Isha, what do you believe? How do we do that as sisters, Sheikh? It's very hard to find. Yeah, so you were mentioning about that Sheikha Haifa. Yeah, so maybe get in contact with her. Maybe someone like that might be good for you. In Farad prayers, can we make sajda dua in Arabic, e.g. Rabbana dua? Yes. Regarding the tazkiyah question, do you know Sheikh Ahmed Dabbagh and his course on self-education? No, I don't. What's the relationship between qawaid al-fiqh and usul al-fiqh? Qawaid al-fiqh are basically principles for application of fiqh, and usul al-fiqh is tools to derive from Quran and Sunnah for fiqh. So imagine usul al-fiqh like the tools you need from the ingredients to baking a cake. And qawaid al-fiqh is like taking the cake and knowing how to feed it to someone. That's qawaid al-fiqh. In the Nafil prayers, can we make any dua request or complaint to Allah? Of course. Of course you can. Do you think Madaris should put more emphasis on aqaid as fiqh too, especially when nowadays there's much confusion on youth or going so-called people who emphasize? Possibly. I mean, I think madrasas should put more emphasis on Quran more than anything. Once a person is solid in the Quran, you can't mess with that person. You cannot mess because that Quran is the essence of everything. It's the root of everything. I think reading the muqaddimat of books are very useful. I learned so much by going through Ilmam al-Anam intro to by Sheikh Itab, even though it was lengthy. Okay, I need to go through that then. Sheikh Itab, I haven't gone through that. I will go through that. It's good you told me that. I'lam al-Anams. Okay, so I know he's got a commentary on the what is it called? Ibn Hajar's book, Bulugh al-Maram, yeah? Yeah, so I'll have a look through that. You said it is fine to walk past alcohol aisles in shops because we do not drink it out of curiosity. Couldn't people say it's fine to eat in a pub since they won't drink the alcohol? But yes, of course. It's not sinful to eat in a pub. Yeah, it's not sinful to eat in a pub. But the thing the Prophet ﷺ said, a person should not eat on a table on which alcohol is served. That's the issue. A person should not eat in a table on which alcohol is served. And this was in them days, they didn't have restaurants or anything like that. So it was basically don't eat in someone's house if they invite you and they're drinking alcohol in there. That's the idea. So walking past alcohol is fun because Muslims are going to live in non-Muslim communities. People are going to, even making alcohol is fine. You can make alcohol at home because vinegar is made from alcohol. If you didn't know that, Galaxy, vinegar is actually made from alcohol. You can only make, like, Sahaba could only make vinegar through alcohol. That's the only process you can make. So clearly, if they were drinking vinegar, Umar radiallahu anhu used to drink vinegar. So he clearly would make it into alcohol first and then vinegar. Okay, I believe US is greater than UK. In size, of course. I am not this hair. I am not this skin. I am the soul that lives within. Ya Allah. MashaAllah. And in fact, your hair falls out. So how can you be your hair? And how can you be your skin when your skin sheds? How does Hanafi Usul contradict with Muthbit Athari Salafi Aqida? It does not. They're two different things. Like saying, how does biology contradict with chemistry? Two different things. Assalamu alaikum Arnaut. Ahlan wa sahlan Arnaut. MashaAllah. ابن آدم سبحان الله نحن كلنا نتبع الصحابة الكرام أيضا رضي الله عنهم أجمعين آمين آمين وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته Namaku Masir Ali Usul Fiqh is theory, Qawaid Fiqh seems to be part of practice. Where does Iftar fit in? So Iftar is knowing how to, so Qawaid Fiqh is basically universal rules. Then you have Dawabit. Dawabit are the sub rules, the rules within particular chapters. And then Iftar is knowing how to answer questions, like knowing how to take from the fiqh and then how to answer the question. So sometimes it requires qawaid, sometimes it requires dawabit, and in most cases it requires just simply finding the juz'iyat. What advice should we give to Muslims, especially young people online? You press any app and explicit ads content come up, so people may become desensitized. Yeah, it's very hard nowadays. I mean, I would say definitely try to switch off these notifications. So if you can disable the notifications, or maybe get some sort of, like, you can get these apps. I think it's called. I think there's an app called Tahir. I think it's called Tahir, something like that, where you might have to pay something and it will automatically block these things out for you. Bulugh al-Maram, yeah, that's the one. Muhammad by Martin Link. Subhanallah, there are so many books that I want to read, but either no one delivers them to. Yeah, I think on you can get it. You can get it on PDF of it. I read a bad boy quote by Maulana Rumi years ago that I still remember today. Go, you remember so much. I am very bad in remembering stories and remembering jokes. I honestly have it very difficult to be able to memorize stories and um, like jokes. Yeah, these are two things that you'll find. I will find it very hard. Like, if something happens, you say to me, "Remember this happened." I might not remember. I can remember loads of other things, but these kind of things, I don't know why. Yeah, I just find it very difficult to remember things. Uh, Shalawat. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi. Is there any precedent for rubbing your face after making dua? Yes. Yeah. So Imam al-Hajar rahimahullah quotes a hadith from Tabarani, touching on the face. Yeah. Zainab, with the pub issue, should we not avoid situations where people? Of course, that's sure. But let's say you go to an airport and you're hungry and there's a restaurant there, but that restaurant's got a bar next to it. What do? Yeah, that's the situation. Of course, you should try to avoid pubs, not because of the location itself, but because people might accuse you, or maybe even they're not going to serve halal things. Also, is it right after Fard Salah a recommended time to make dua by yourself, or is it just time for the prescribed dhikr? Yes, you can make dua. If someone asked me to pass their vape to them on the table, would I be committing sin? No. Look, I said my heart is so small. How can it hold such a big sorrows? Look, he replied, your heart is even smaller, yet it beholds the world. Allah. MashaAllah. Wow, wow. You got to add some disclaimers when you say certain things. The people misunderstand you making alcohol for alcohol itself versus making alcohol for vinegar. Yeah, that's true. You're right. I should. But this is why I need to explain some things to people sometimes, because if I say to someone, you can walk past the aisle, and they take from that, if you can walk past aisle, then you can go into a pornography shop. Yeah, there's obviously two different things. Yeah. So I actually made, for students, I've actually made a video where I demonstrate how wine is made, to show the students of how wine is made. So once I remember, I sent it to students, and what happened was someone got hold of the video and they got back to one of my colleagues and said, "Oh, look, he's teaching people how to make wine. Astaghfirullah. Look what he's doing." And alhamdulillah, my colleague said, "Well, he didn't drink it, did he?" Yeah, he goes, "No." He goes, "That's it. So why are you making big fuss?" So sometimes a lot of people, they don't understand. They're very naive when it comes to understanding things about Islam, and when they're told something which is a bit above their level, they misunderstand, unfortunately. So this is why, yeah, you're right. Definitely, I should have made the disclaimer. And even if they try to make alcohol, they'll probably end up killing themselves if they try to drink it. Look, he replied, "Your heart is so." Are my father's mahrams considered to be my mahrams? Yes. Yeah. So generally, the biological mahrams. Yeah. So there's biological mahrams, there's your breastfeeding mahrams, and then there's in-law mahrams. So the biological mahrams of your father are your mahrams. What are the types? Actually, no, not all the biological fathers. Your father's nephews and nieces are not your mahrams. So the ones above. So imagine the ascendants are all yours, but not all the descendants are yours. So besides your father's nephews and nieces, Everyone above is mahram. What are the types and levels of mujtahid and fuqaha? I mean, you have your ultimate mujtahid, who's like the highest ranking mujtahid, and then you have sub mujtahids, yeah, various degrees. Scholars differ on different types of. There's like about within the Hanafi school, there's about five different like categorizations of ijtihad. I understand, but I'm referring intoxicating alcohol as many people online discourage going to restaurants which serve alcohol. Should we avoid it? There are alcohol-free restaurants alternatives. Yes, ideally you should avoid it. Sheikh, is there? But if you see a Muslim going to what I'm saying is, if you see a Muslim going to a restaurant that serves alcohol, you cannot blame them. You cannot say they're sinful. You cannot say that this person's disobedient to Allah. Remember that. This is the important point. That's why I want to make this clear. Because sometimes you might hear something, you've seen another Muslim with a beard or a hijab going to a restaurant that has a bar with it as well, and then automatically you say this person's a deviant and sinful. You can't say they're sinful. Sheikh, is there any rule or way to figure out to make plural forms for more than two of words like la'ibun? So you make a plural of la'ibun, yeah? La'ibuna. Yeah? La'ibuna. Generally it says la'ibuna. You add a una at the end. Shah Hassan, what's the latest ruling on organ donation? So the view that I take is Mufti Zubair Bhatt, who was a senior student of Mufti Taqi Usmani, who is a senior student of Mufti Taqi Usmani, and he says it's jaiz. Under NHS, you can read his whole fatwa. It is correct to explain the Hanafi resistance to Jam al-Haqiqi by reference to the Hanafi usul by the Quran, prayers said to be our rules hadith. Yes. My uncle recently had a stroke. May Allah give him shifa. He can walk, but he finds it very difficult. Urine always comes out and has a lot of problems going upstairs washing wudu. What would you advise? So we would say that his wudu would be considered to be, for every salat, he just has to do one wudu and it would last until the next wudu. That's a funny story, but yeah, notice that. Yeah, so this is the difficulty with me answering questions online. Like, this is the kind of like two-edged sword. I can either answer very simple questions and not answer, like, you guys know me, Akida questions, I don't answer them because I know that's going to cause a lot of confusion. But I can answer simple questions and just stick to them and not answer anyone's difficult questions, or I can try to answer difficult questions as well. So it's like one of those things. Is this video online, Sheikh? I'd like to see it, please. I'd like to understand the Nabi Masala. No, it's not on. It's not for public. It's only for students I teach. I know they're going to keep it private. I only give it to them. And that's why I don't put it public, because I know there's going to be crazy people out there, unfortunately, who will just take that as evidence that this guy is like this guy's teaching people how to make a weapon of mass destruction. A weapon of mass destruction. Do you have a favorite hadith that you find personally impactful every time you reflect on it? Yeah, I have. One of my favorite hadith is the hadith of the lady who fed the dog from her shoe. Yeah, I like that hadith. Do you have a favorite hadith? Yeah. What's your favorite hadith, Alexi? Correction. Look, I said my heart is so small. How can it hold such big sorrows? Look, he replied, your eyes are even smaller, yet they behold the world. Allah. Well, not really behold the world. They only behold part of the world at one time. But yeah, I get you. How can I learn the fiqh adab of joking? Cut down on your jokes. Learn from Muhammad. Brother Muhammad's got the adab, the book of adab of jokes. I mean, it's difficult because adab joking differs from time to time. Yeah, joke is something that's related to culture. Yeah, so depending on, like, for example, you might be from a family whose parents joke a lot. Like my parents joke a lot. So that's why you'll find this in their children as well. So my siblings will have the habit of joking a lot. And then you might come from a family where the parents are quite strict. Very rarely will they joke. So, and their jokes will be of a different nature as well. So then that would be different. And I saw this in Pakistan. When I was in Pakistan, people would find Mr. Bean very funny. And we kind of find adults don't really laugh at that anymore. Like kids used to laugh at it. So our types of jokes that we have in this society are of a different nature. I'm not saying all jokes are jais. I think Hanafis and Malikis have the same position of wine to vinegar, and Shafis and Hanbalis oppose. Yeah, so Shafis say that it has to be done naturally. Can Muslims be a bouncer for a nightclub? Possibly. Yeah, because the rule basically is that if it's a job which is a very generic job, which is not linked to supporting that particular sinful act that's taking place in that in that premises, then it's permissible. I think most of the opposition to Hanafi school is lack of understanding of its usul. Yeah, I would say it's not just that. I think most of the opposition to Hanafi school is, or not most of it, a lot of it is to do with not understanding usul itself. Like in any school, if you understand the usul in a school, you will definitely have to familiarize yourself with certain concepts that make you accept certain things. Does a person have to fulfill his jariya's desire in intercourse just as he obliged with his own wife? No. Sheikh, what's happened with your cats? So the cats are still at my mom's house. I have to get a new cat. I have to buy a new cat, basically. Yeah, so I have to look for a new cat. Hopefully this year, maybe. I like this hadith about consulting the heart. Righteousness is about which the soul feels at ease and the heart feels tranquil. And wrongdoing is that which wavers in the heart, in the soul, and causes uneasiness in the breast, even though people have repeatedly given their legal opinion. Yes, that's a nice one as well. Definitely. Right. Let's see if there's any more curious cat ones. No more curious cat ones. Have you heard of anti jokes? I have a friend who would come out with some example. He said, asked me, bro, do you know what happens every Pakistan every 60 seconds? No, a minute goes by. The dot dot. Is that oh, is that the anti joke? Get a female cat, you already know what to name it. Allah, Hanifa. I call it Hanifa, Abu Hanifa. Yeah, problem with female cats is they're gonna, produce litters, loads of litters. And male cats fight too much. Are we allowed to have short back and side haircuts? Yes, you can. Right. Okay, so for two, we add ani, and for more than two, una at the end, right? Like talibun, talibani, talibuna. That's it. Well done, shabash. Get a Persian cat, Sheikh. All of us will get together and give. Yeah, the problem with Persian cats is they shed too much fur. That's the only problem. And then sometimes I have some relatives who are allergic to cats, so the fur is a problem. Yeah, so like for example, my brother's wife, she's allergic to cats. If a cat, the hair and the fur, she starts sneezing, and so it's very bad. Yeah, I used to have a Persian cat a long time ago. Got stolen. The Baraka of Birmingham. Birmingham Baraka. I meant Laya. Oh, Laya cat. That's it. Leah cat. Leah. Sounds like a kind of English name. But a bouncer will be surrounded by scantily dressed women all night. Yeah, see that's another problem there. But in essence, theoretically, if that's the question was that is a bouncer allowed to be, so theoretically, yes, that's a theory. But then if there's other factors involved, then obviously it's best to avoid that kind of environment. Like Brits enjoy witty, dry humor, but Americans don't get. Yeah, maybe. I mean, one of the things I find is like when men joke with one another, their jokes are a different level. And when a man jokes with a woman, the woman can't get the man's jokes all the time. I don't know, guys. Have you realized that? Yeah. So I might tell a joke like if I've got like for example family members. Like let's say for example I say a joke to my brothers, they'll get it, and we can carry on that joke. Like we've got a way of saying the joke, and then we bounce off each other. So I'll say a joke and it echoes. So like he'll say something to add to that joke, and then I'll say something, and then for a few minutes we'll be laughing at each other. And then, for example, my sisters, they probably won't get that joke. That joke will just like dissipate. It won't bounce back. Do you guys know what I'm saying? So I don't know. What do you guys say? Do you guys get that? Get a British short hair. Yeah, British short hair. I might get British short hair. Yeah. Or the Bengal cat is nice. They go quite big, fat. Sheikh, I need help sleeping. Tell me some scary jinn stories. I need to calm down. Oh, guess what, guys? Let me tell you. I think I've got jinns again coming because when I get jinns, I see dreams. And the other day I saw a dream, and like from a garden across the garden, there was another house there. The house isn't there, but there was another house there. And these three little kids, they came to me and they were like speaking to me, and they wanted to play with me, and I could tell these were like not normal. And then like I realized like they weren't like leaving me. They kept on staying there. They weren't going home. In the morning, I woke up. I kept on waking up at night time, and I realized this is jinn business because I've experienced that before as well. Yeah, when I get that, like I see these dreams, and then I can't sleep at night. So I don't know. What do you guys think, Muhammad? You tell me. Yeah, and it happens like because the house I'm living in next door is empty. It's been empty for about 3 years since we moved in. It's been empty. They just like come do some work and then discontinue the work. So usually those kind of like places are perfect places for gin games nights. Do they use the term "don't take the Mickey" in the Midlands? Yeah, he's taking the mick. He said he's taking the mick, bro. You're almost 100. Yes, almost 100k. Jazakallah khair, MP. So inshallah, predicting March, it's going to be 100k just before Ramadan. I think I might. I don't know. Should I get like a cake? I think what I might do is I might do like on behalf of all of you guys. Inshallah, I'm gonna give some sadaqah to build something. Maybe like build home for the poor. What do you guys think? Because I know cutting a cake, I might just get a small cake just for the symbolic value. Yeah. But I might just get some money, inshallah, and give it for for all the people, all of you guys who have been supporting my channel. Inshallah, sadaqah jariyah. Is there any issue buying something halal from a seller whom you know that he'll use your money in haram things? No, it's fine. That's because our jokes are savage, harsh, and sometimes dark. We use inside jokes a lot. Oh yeah, yeah. I think that's it. I like a person who I can tell a joke to, and then we can like, carry on that joke, like a table tennis match joke. It's just like a nice kind of. It evolves into something, something else. I'm just not quick witty. Also, women generally are more conscious of other feelings. Oh yeah, maybe that's why men are a bit blunt. Do the flashlight thing on your face with. That's a good idea, isn't it? Yeah, let me see. Let me see, guys, if you guys can see my face. This is the jinn face. This is when the jinns start coming around and they start. Yeah, so a bad dream just from shaitan rather than jinn related. I don't know, but I can tell my dreams. Like I'm so used to my dreams, I can tell now. If it's like some sort of a jinn. If someone interprets a dream and it's not correct meaning, will it happen? Okay, no, you won't. For 100k, get a cake, do sadaqah, and do a tour if possible. If also get a that's 4 things, that is. Whoa. Then what am I gonna do for 200,000? That's like killer, that is. Yeah. Okay, let me just put this on charge. My phone's about to die, guys. So why do some scholars emphasize to eat HMC? What's the difference? So maybe they emphasize on HMC because they feel as though they need to be very, very, very super cautious that their meat is not haram. I mean, I eat from anywhere as long as I trust that establishment. Yeah, as long as I haven't seen them do anything bad or heard, and they're Muslims, I'll eat from there. My wife said you look like Zishan from Smile to Jannah without glasses. Oh yeah, Zishan, Smile to Jannah. Yeah, I think maybe I need to get glasses to look more professional. I'm actually supposed to have a talk with Zishan in High Wycombe soon. That's the plan. Hopefully, I can meet him. What should one do if after praying istikhara they still don't know which decision to go with? So, look, when making istikhara, the whole point of istikhara is you don't get stressed. If you intend to do something, do all the research, and once you're happy with it, like if you're buying a car, do all the research. Are you happy with the car? Are you happy with the interior, the gearbox, the speed of the car, and everything? You happy with it? Right, now do istikhara and go for it. So istikhara is basically the last step. You do istikhara, you don't wait for anything, just go for it. As for waiting for a dream, that's one opinion scholars have mentioned, but it's a very difficult one to follow because a lot of people get even more confused and they have to contact a scholar. What's the point of doing istikhara if after istikhara you have to contact a scholar to find out what your istikhara is? Doesn't make sense. Okay. What's the difference between mansoob, mabni ala alamat al-nasb? So mansoob means that it's considered to be in the state of nasab. So not marfu, not majroor. It's in the nasab state. مبني على مبني على علامة النصب or على فتح. You say مبني على الفتح is when it's mabni upon a symbol, one of the symbols of. So for example, mansub has several symbols. Like he has alif sometimes, he has two fathah sometimes, he has one fathah sometimes, he has ya noon sometimes. Yeah, so it's got various things. Sheikh, what's the meaning of tullab? So tullab is also talibun, but it's what we call a broken plural. Why I would suggest to you randomly is do my Quranic Arabic 17 lesson, honestly. All these things will get quickly cleared up. There's a ruling that istihala makes najis thing tahir, especially for perfumes. Does that mean perfumes that has alcohol in is pure? So the alcohol in perfumes, according to Abu Hanifa, is pure anyway, because it's not grape based. What do you personally do when you think you have jinns in your home? I just read manzil. I read manzil, usually solves it, or read Surah Baqarah. Yeah, it usually solves it. Also, you gotta do a library tour. Oh yes, library tour. That's true. Inshallah, this year, hopefully, I'm deciding to go Pakistan. Inshallah, definitely, inshallah, this year. I've been looking at the ticket prices and when's the best time to go, and hopefully, inshallah, I'm gonna do like a tour. Okay. Is istikhara there to ask Allah to put khair in it, or ask Allah best for me? Yeah, it's to ask Allah to put khair in it and to let it go through if it's worth it for you. That's what it is. Wa alaikum assalam. KRY أهلا وسهلا كل عام وأنتم بخير وأهلا وسهلا ومرحبا. Okay. For 200k, interview a jinn. I would love to. I've actually spoken to a guy who's possessed once. I would like to speak to a jinn. So if there's any jinns out there who wants to speak to me, please get ready for 200k. So how do you get rid of them jinns? Any specific amal? I just read Surah Baqarah or the Manzil. Does it mean anything wrong if a woman sees in her dreams that she hugs the Prophet ﷺ? No, in fact, that even usually sound like a very good dream. Isn't alcohol in perfumes different to khamar ruling? That's right. Come on. Is Jum'ah of a Hanafi valid if he prays in the second Jama'ah in a Shafi mosque? Second Jama'ah in a Shafi mosque? I wouldn't see why it's not. As long as the Shafis believe that their salat is fine. I want to come for the jinn interview, gonna grill the CV proper, like when you speak to a jinn, like when you speak to someone who's possessed, like you can have a good conversation with them. It's actually better than Chat GPT. What supplements do you take? I take L-theanine, ashwagandha, B vitamins. I take so many. I can't even remember the names of half of them. Yeah. So I take about, what I will do, I'll take a picture and I'll put it onto my Telegram. I take about I think about 8 to 9 pills, up to 10 maybe I take supplements. A lot of them are for my joints. Is it okay to eat vegan restaurants, food stalls with food made by non-Muslims as long as you think that there is no alcohol? Yes. Ask them. You just go ask them, is there any alcohol in this? Now you have to tell us the story of the possessed guy. No, bro, no, because Brother Muhammad is gonna, you know, he's gonna he's gonna he hasn't seen the whole world yet. He's gonna see the whole world with his eyes. Yes, inshallah, that course is in my bucket list. I remember Umran in collaboration with Amin Waji suggesting me that course. Definitely, definitely. Because according to the Hanafis, there is no second Jama'ah in the same mosque for Jum'ah in contrast to Eid. Yes, later Hanafis have allowed it. So in England, I mean, I don't know where you are, is one. In England, nearly every mosque has 2 Jumas. Almost every mosque has 2 Jumas, especially in the summer. First book to complete, inshallah. Is Juma valid if one arrives late and only catches the second rakat? Yes. If you see Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in your dream, in contrary of what he is described by Shamal books or riwayat, is it considered that you've seen him? There's an ikhtilaf of the scholars about this. I would personally say yes, because I've seen the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in a young form. Yes, I would say yes. Don't ever say that about jinns. I've heard you actually attract jinns when you say similar things. All right, Mr. and Mrs. Jinnat. Jinnat. when they come when they come to me and say to me, you called us. I went, no, I said Jinnat, not. Oh yes, that's a good one, that is. Okay, so if someone had a half uncle from mom's side, would he be considered mahram? So what is exactly half uncle? Salam, ahlan wa sahlan, Iyan. Salam, Ustad. Is chess haram? No. Sheikh, post a video titled Interview with Jinn on 100k subs and see. I say, wow, W-O-W, oh my God, OMG. The first and ever Jinn interview online. Are you possessed? Yeah, maybe I'll say that. Can I see my comments? Can I see my comments? Can you see your comments? I don't understand. You want to see your comments? Are feet of women allowed to be exposed outside of prayer in front of non-mahrams? According to the Hanafis, yes. Sheikh Razabani once said, someone asked him if males are janab and females are janaba. That's a good one. Is playing with dice haram? As long as it doesn't involve gambling, or it doesn't involve fighting, it doesn't involve like wasting your obligatory duties, then no. Is the book launch tomorrow? Unfortunately, I'm abroad or would love to join. Yes. Tomorrow. I have a theory that ChatGPT AI is jinn powered. Wow. That's a good one. I like that. I actually started using ChatGPT today. It's very bad. What they've done is they've restricted it so much that you can hardly get anything out of it. You got to ask it a very specific question to get it to say something that makes sense. Yeah. So that's unfortunate. Okay, so they have the same mum, yes, then that's fine. Then they're mahram for you. Ya Allah. Right. Okay, guys. I think I am going to finish off there. See that the dark side. This is the light side. This is the dark side. Actually, this actually looks better, doesn't it? It actually makes me look a bit more scary, a bit more so like serious. Some books reason for the aura of slave girl due to her having duties and being. Doesn't that feel far-fetched? No. I've used it to reply to my students' emails. Oh, is it work? Yeah, I need to know how to use that. What's the jinn theory? Yeah, so that's interesting. What's that jinn theory? Jinn, G, PT. I gotta figure out what PT stands for. Chat jinn. Potential. Yeah. So how, Zainab? How do you do it then? You gotta send me an email. Show me how to do it because that might be helpful to me. Oh, made up theory, huh? It's a joke. We finished joke section. Joke segment has finished. Okay, guys. Take care, inshallah. Instagram people, have a nice week. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, guys, I'm gonna finish it there then. Have a nice one. Take care, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.